All right, so to start, I want to warn all of our viewers that today will be a sensitive topic, and only if you are 18 years or older or you are okay with mature content should you stay.
This is scandalous.
Because today we are going to be talking about circumcision.
You circumcised? Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about when males have a surgery or an operation to get their foreskin removed from the sort of top of their penis or of their dicks, as we say in England.
So, a little bit of background. Me and Jack were talking about cultural differences between the US and the UK, and we realized how big of a difference there is with this specific topic, with circumcision. And yeah, can you explain, Jack, what are norms with circumcision in England?
Yeah, so we were saying in it firstly, just generally only we looked at some statistics and apparently only 20% of UK males are circumcised, so they've had their foreskin removed. And I thought that was high compared to like when I was, at school or when I'm in the changing rooms at rugby. Like, I'm not counting, but like I feel like it's like I've not seen that many circumcised penises in my time. And yeah, so apparently according to the internet, it's 20%. I would have thought it was lower. And I think for younger people, kind of 40 and less, it's becoming less and less common because it's about 15% of 18 to 40-year-olds in the UK are circumcised. And yeah, it's just not a common thing. And it's not like, I don't know, no one, we're not speaking about like, oh, like I have a circumcised penis or this person has a circumcised penis. It's just kind of like a given that you have a foreskin. And we have kind of other things which we'll get onto, other things that we talk about that are a consequence of the fact that we have the foreskin. But in America, in the United States, it's a little bit different, no?
Yeah, well, there are two factors, especially that, well, I'll just say to the audience that I am circumcised. When I was a baby, I did have my foreskin removed for two reasons. One, because I'm Jewish and it is a religious ritual called a bris. And on top of it, being a male born in the US, pretty much everybody I know is circumcised. I mean, again, like with Jack, it's not like I'm asking my friends or like, peeking, somehow, but like, you're in a locker room or whatever, you're going to see someone's junk, what they got going on down there. And it is very, very rare to see someone who is not circumcised.
And if you were to see it, and maybe like, I kind of slightly know the answer to this, but if you're the one in America that does have the foreskin, are they seen as kind of like this exotic, cool person, or is it kind of like, oh, like that's like Forkin Freddy? Like I don't want to hang around.
Forkin Freddy. Okay, well, this is a little bit vulgar, but in high school, I heard of one guy who, I mean, yeah, it's literally like that. Like you'd hear his gossip. Like there is one person, we'll call him Jim. Jim did not get his foreskin removed. He did not have a circumcision, and everybody knew about it. And his nickname was hooded warrior, like someone who would put up a hood and a warrior because his penis, I guess, in one way or another, resembles a hooded warrior.
Wow, nice, good,
Yeah,
good effort, Jim.
we're
Jim.
pretty clever here in the
Yeah,
U.S.
Jim would fit right in the UK. We're all.
Someone does not like this conversation.
That was Jim. That was Jim.
Yeah, yeah, enough.
Stop telling me.
Yeah. Or honestly, people in the US, if they were to see someone who wasn't circumcised, they might just think that that person is European. Because there are many European stereotypes that we have in the US, and not being circumcised is one of them. Like, oh, their penis is not circumcised, must be European.
So European, so continental.
Yeah, or their pants are too tight. They must be European.
Their pants are too tight. You can see the outline of his foreskin. He must be. And so, what about? I don't know. Maybe you don't know this, but like in like your friends that are girls, or like in your group of girlfriends, what is there any like conversation about it? Like, oh, like Jenny was with a European last week, or like, yeah. Or is there like is there an attraction to it, or because of it, because it's novel, because it's new?
Yeah, and kind of different, kind of exotic. So I haven't heard anything like that, but it doesn't mean it's not true. There might be a preference among some girls here in the US. Maybe they have a fetish or an asphyxiation for guys with foreskins. I don't know. I might have to do some more research after this. Call up some female friends. Like, hey, what? I got a question for you.
Yeah, and do you need one? Because I've got one. I've got a.
Yeah, and I happen to have a buddy just in England or Argentina, wherever he is. But well, speaking of women or at least in that sort of area, in one way, I'm envious that you have your foreskin, because what I heard is that sex or intercourse is actually more enjoyable or more pleasurable for males that haven't had a circumcision. Have you heard the same thing?
Yeah, I've heard it, and I've heard it from people that have like, because obviously it would be, well, yeah, like guys that have had a circumcision later on in life for like medical reasons and stuff like that. I suppose like it's hard to know the difference if you've always had no foreskin, and I've always had foreskin. Like it's hard to know like whether it would be the difference. But yeah, and I think there's like a medical explanation, because when you cut off the foreskin, the skin inside kind of changes, like it becomes it becomes tougher and less sensitive, whereas like when like I have sex, you pull the foreskin back and then have sex, that area is still there and it's sensitive tissue, so that would make it more sensitive, and then therefore when you cut it off, that skin becomes harder. I don't think harder is the right word, but let's
tougher,
say that
or
tougher.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it makes sense generally. Obviously it depends case by case, that it would be, yeah, you could say that it's less pleasurable, or that area is just less sensitive.
Jim again.
Okay, Jim. So yeah, I have heard that. So I suppose like I'm glad in that sense, but I wouldn't know like the difference. Like it's always been the same. It's not like I didn't have one and then I've added it. You know, like that would
Mhm.
be like that would be like the additional pleasure. Like my pleasure is relative, no, like to what you're used to
Yeah.
in some way. Whereas like you can't add a foreskin, so you can only go from like having a sensitive penis to non-sensitive.
Without. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jack, I'm curious. So apart from, let's say, societal or religious reasons, I understand that some people might have a circumcision because of medical reasons. So either in your personal, in your own case, or with other people that you know, has anyone experienced like anything bad from a medical perspective, or like any negative side effects from having a foreskin?
So I think yeah. So in the UK, I think the fact that the percentage of guys that or males that have had circumcision is low because I think we have a smaller Jewish population or percentage of population, so that would be lower, and it's just not as common. But the
Like a
people,
cultural perspective.
what's that? Sorry.
From like a cultural
Yeah, from
perspective,
a cultural
societal,
perspective,
yeah.
it's just not as it's not as done. But my friend that has had it done, he was younger and had it done for a medical reason because
Hmm.
like his it sounds bad, like his foreskin split, so it was already kind of cut
Oh,
because not good, not nice. And I'm sure all like the guys watching like
cringing.
cringing.
Oof.
So he
Yeah.
had that, and I think that's like it's not common, but that's fairly common. Like the first time you roll, like so, I don't know if you know this. Like
Roll?
you have
Like
a when
peel
you
back a
roll,
foreskin?
yeah, we say to roll the foreskin back is like the
Ah.
so I think what's quite common is because that skin isn't so elastic yet. It's not used to rolling back over the top of the precipice, the bell end, as we say in England.
The top, or like the head?
The
Or
head
like,
of the penis, yeah.
yeah.
In England, we call it the bell end because it
Ah,
looks
the
like
bell end.
a bell and it's on the end.
Oh,
Um,
we call like yeah, just the head, or maybe like the helmet.
the helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's quite common that the first time you do that, or the first few times, it can tear and then it can get infected and then they have to remove it. Yeah, so it's not nice. That's pretty common.
That's a tough
And
roll.
that's a tough roll. That's a tough roll. Yeah. That's a bad roll. Yeah, the first roll it hurts. The first roll is bad. Like
Really? It
I can
hurt?
remember my first roll and be like,
So this is the first time you have any type of sexual experience, or you are having sex, like having intercourse?
no,
Could it be from masturbation or
this is the
anything?
first time like in your life you roll it back. You could be like I was probably like 5 or 6 or something like
Hmm.
that. You just roll it back out of I don't know interest.
Yeah.
um,
Ah, interesting.
um,
One
yeah,
male discovering more about the
yeah,
male body here.
yeah. Like I feel so bad for you. You never experienced the roll.
The role. I'm missing
the
out.
first the first
Missing out.
roll. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Like first Christmas.
that's good.
Which I also didn't have.
Yeah. But Jewish weddings are really fun. I
That's
think.
fair. That's
Yeah, it's
fair.
fair.
I didn't get to roll or have Christmas, but the
Yeah,
weddings, you know.
we got the weddings.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have that, which is pretty common. Like that's a common reason for guys in the UK to have a circumcision.
Mhm.
And the one thing that you don't miss out on having a circumcised penis is quite common in especially when you're in your teenage years because of like hormones, and maybe you don't really realize you sweat so much. We have a hygienic problem with having a foreskin, having that extra
What do you mean,
skin.
like a hygienic problem?
So often, if you're not very good with your personal hygiene, guys of all ages, but it just tend to be like adolescents, is you get a buildup of this sweat, and if you don't
Ew.
roll it back and clean it, like you get a buildup of sweat and dead skin and stuff, and we call that smegma. Is its medical term.
That's an ugly word.
Yeah, it's not. Like, some people call it smeg.
It's the perfect like.
That'll save us like 30 seconds on editing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it's called smega.
Or
Okay,
they just call it smeg for short, or some people call it knob cheese, like the cheese of your knob. Not great. Not
nasty.
great.
So,
But that's it. Yeah, that's
time
a
you
common
shower.
problem. Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah?
basically to avoid that, you just have a It's like anything when you're at that age, you sweat quite a lot, you get spots and things like that. It's a common thing. So they just tell you, like, make sure every night you roll and swirl. Or some people call it polishing
Polishing the knob.
polishing the knob. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that's a problem. Some people have it really, really bad, so they have a circumcision for that. Like they just
It becomes
sweat
a
a lot.
serious medical issue.
Yeah, like you just get a real bad buildup, and then that can get infected and stuff like that. So so if you do have a foreskin, clean it, polish your knob.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be our official slogan.
Yeah, polish your
knob.
knob, polish your knob.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting,
but
Jack.
other than that,
So pros and cons for sure, it seems like.
yeah. Other than that, I wouldn't change it. I like the American girls that or women that I've been with have found it kind of novel and unique and fun, and asked a few questions like, is it, do I do anything, like them asking me, do I do anything different? It's like, no, you just roll it back and like it's the same,
Yeah. You have to tell it a riddle or solve this puzzle.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. It's like as you slowly say nice things to it, it slowly comes out like.
Yeah, give it 3 compliments.
But one thing also that you have to be careful with, I've just thought of, is when you have a wee and you're not really concentrating.
When you have a what?
When you have a wee, when you go
pee.
for a pee.
No, okay. British word. Wee.
Wee or a pee, or you urinate. You've got to be careful because like a full up foreskin, so like it overhangs a little bit, and so when you pee, the pee can touch that bit of skin and it can misdirect the flow a little bit.
That's dangerous. God. All I said was dangerous.
So when you get your foreskin, Miles, when you
next Hanukkah,
you in the morning, like when you go for a pee, like it's usually in the morning because you're like a little bit sleepy. You have to like roll back a little bit, and then like the bell end is like protruding a little bit. It's sticking out, and so you can pee, you can flow, no dramas.
Wow. The more you know.
The more you know.
Well, Jack, this has been certainly eye-opening for me, very educational for me. I'm glad we finally had a chance to fully discuss this. I guess you'd maybe call it like a large cultural difference.
Like
between the US and the UK.
Yeah, like I never thought how like it just really kind of change your life a little bit. Like, it's not, either way is fine, it's good, but
Yeah.
like you do have to consider different things. Like, if literally tomorrow you magically got a foreskin, you would be kind of like out of whack for a few days,
Oh, without a doubt. But then again, it'd be kind of fun. I could have my first role finally.
You could have your first role. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You usually do it like when you do your first role, you do it with your friends, your family around.
Oh,
Like,
naturally.
naturally, you have a warm bath, and then you.
Okay. That's great. Well, anyway, Jack, yeah, I really enjoyed talking about this with you. And it has me thinking in the future, we should talk about more cultural differences that relate to our bodies, like, I don't know, like makeup or shaving or, other cultural differences that there might be between our two countries.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think a lot of people think it's America, UK, it's very, very similar, a few
Yeah.
differences, but actually in terms of like aesthetics and certain other things, we do differ quite a lot in terms of the general like things that we do. And yeah, like I think it's for like, and we even like with the body, do very different things.
Very. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Anyway, Jack, I enjoyed speaking with you as always, and I'm very much looking forward to the next time that we get to discuss one of these topics.
Yeah, me too. And thank everybody for watching. We hope you've found the video interesting and enjoyable, and maybe a little bit humorous as well.
Yeah. And let us know, or don't let us know, what the norm is in your country in terms of circumcision and your thoughts on or preferences on the American way or the British way when it comes to snip snip. All right, everyone. Until next time. Take care.
Ciao, ciao.